All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to have you all here. We'd like to get started with our agenda this morning. Welcome to the 20th Annual First Nations Housing Conference, and we'd like to start with the agenda and invite our drum group to open our morning event. So let's have the Eagle Boy drum group for us today. Okay, so they asked that the prayer would go first. So we have Elder Victor Palche from Fort William First Nation joining us today, and he will have the opening prayer.
Good morning, everyone, and I just welcome you all here to Fort William First Nations. And on behalf of Fort William First Nations and what's going on here in the next 2 days, we'll just ask Creator to be with all of us, to bless us all. I'm married. My name is Vic Pelchin. I've been with my wife for 58 years, and we have six children, 3 boys and 3 girls. And as a young man growing up, I worked alongside my dad, who was a self-contractor. He did a lot of bush work, and he was a beachcomber on Lake Superior. And I worked alongside of him for a few years till he retired himself. And after his retirement, I went on my own. I was a truck driver, worked in the bush lots, and I was also involved with my parish at St. Anne's. I was asked by a sister one day if I'd be interested in take a training course to be an ordained deacon for the Diocese of Thunder Bay. And I asked her to give me at least 2 weeks to think about it, to pray about it. And so the 2 weeks went by. I went back this year and I accepted that training program to be a deacon. It's going on 34 years now with the Diocese of Thunder Bay and St. Anne's Parish. And I'd just like to begin, as we say our opening prayer, with the sign of the cross, and those who feel comfortable may bless themselves also. Oshine Kasawin, we asked him in Gayu Isman, Gayu in the Shamana told me gang. And I'd just like to do the Our Father in our native language. No Sadan, Kishikan, Yibien, Apikish Kichawawin, I mean, Kirich Kasawin, Apikish Bidawish, Kama Kidakamawi women. And then Dama Pikish, way back, Tibish Go Gishgang, Miko Kai King. Echishanam, I'm going Gishgar, me, Pabi, Ginimi, Medic, and Otasko Gishagar. Borigi Tawishanam, Kai Gish Wishigan, Oshi Boni Gitawaga, Gai Jinish Comanche, Gago, Gai Ichi Wishigan. Gawi bidding, me with them, me with salam das, me gain. And I also like to say a short prayer, asking the Creator to be with us in the next couple of days. We ask our Creator to help bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so that we will work for the good of all our communities and help all your people. Teach us to be generous in outlook, courageous in face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Creator, we bless you, for you are our God forever and ever. Amen. And I'd just like to do a smudging with the purification of the sage. And so I smudge my mind so that I may be open to people. I smudge my eyes only to see good things in life. I smudge my mouth to speak kindly towards people. And most of all, we smudge our hearts so that everything we do comes from the Creator. So I'll just light the sage and Budget promise from
All right, thanks to the Elder Victor Pelchier for doing our opening prayer and ceremony, and also to the Eagle Boy Drum Group. I wonder if there is a representative from Fort William First Nation here this morning for welcoming remarks. Okay, with that, we do acknowledge that we are in the Fort William First Nation traditional territory, and thank them for allowing us to host our event here. I would like to invite the working group to come to the podium, and we'll carry on with our opening here. Well, it's great to be here, and it's great to host this event again after a couple of years. I know last event was a virtual event, and it's not the same. How many are happy to be out and among your colleagues and other community professionals? Really amazing. It's amazing to be able to sit beside people, and we look forward to 3 days of interaction, relationship building, and learning from other professionals in our communities. Just want to welcome you here again, and also welcome you to the city of Thunder Bay, and hope that you have a great few days here. And just acknowledge again Fort William First Nation, as they are a signatory to the Robinson-Superior Treaty of 1850, and certainly thank them as well for allowing us to be on their traditional territory. It's so good to be together, and it's been a long time coming, and we look forward to many more great events like this, and networking and everything else that goes on. You know, we are celebrating 20 years of building First Nations, and we're able to do that because of you and your communities and the opportunity that we have to serve our people and our community citizens. You know, it's a reminder of how important the conference is for First Nations communities that we're able to come together. So please give yourselves a round of applause for the support that you carry out in your community. Thank you all, both new and returning, for being here and helping make the First Nations Housing Conference the event it has become. I think this is the biggest ever, and we look forward to even larger events. The First Nations Housing Conference is brought to you and organized by the First Nations housing community, and includes tribal councils, contributing tribal councils, and this group up here are the leads that help out with the planning committee, and we're happy to have this group here, and we will participate in sharing briefly with you this morning as we welcome. So I'll just read off the names, and maybe they could raise their hand because they're not in the order that I have here. Morgan Anderson from Padaguzing Niazing Advisory Services Council. Keith Lawrence, Windigo First Nations Council. Jonathan Gregg and Walter Munias, Independent First Nations Alliance. Myself, I guess I didn't introduce myself. My name is Clarence Mikas. I work with Ontario First Nations Technical Services Corporation. Roger Rozon, Nokiwan Tribal Council. He is not here, but has helped with planning for years. Andrew Colham, Shibogama First Nations Council. Tris Sagan, Mushkegowuk Council. Lemuel Failma, Kiwetan Ogmakanik. Severio Rizzo, Matawa First Nations. And Dinesh Adhikari, Bamose Tribal Council.
Good morning, everyone. Severio from Matawa, as Clarence mentioned. Together, we have many accomplishments and challenges to share, but we all know that we still have work to do in our communities. Housing is connected to everything in our lives, and we face more challenges than most in providing homes for our fellow community members. This is one of the many reasons this conference was established, why we started the First Nations housing community, and why we continue to gather each year. Together, we will celebrate 20 years of hard work, capacity building, and ultimately building First Nations, which is our theme for this year. You will find it entwined throughout the conference. Over the next 3 days, you'll meet and learn from some of the most respected experts in the housing industry and fellow communities that have found success in housing. We want to thank all the presenters for preparing these informative sessions for us The knowledge you'll share with us will definitely make a significant difference for our housing communities. We wouldn't be here today without the generous support of our funders and sponsors. Thank you to our funders, Indigenous Services Canada, CMHC, Canada Mortgage and Housing, our master sponsors, Smart Modular Canada and Farber Real Estate Group, as well as our tradesmen sponsors, Hydro One and First Nations Financial Management Board. I'd like to introduce Keith Lawrence to do the next section here.
Pardon me? Oh, yeah.
Well, I'd like to include the sponsors for the Builders Challenge as well. It's Lookout Home Hardware and Irwin Tools for making that event happen. Let's give a round of applause to our sponsors for making this event happen. Lookout Home Hardware and Irwin Tools were generous enough to make this Builders Challenge happen. The Builders Challenge has become a staple of the event for sure, along with Johnson Gregg's Borderline Insulting Humor. We're welcoming back TV handyman and great grandfather Jan Eeks to the event. Jan really makes the event. This year, we're going over reactive measures of a finished home, focusing on maintenance of the home. Jan's going to explore the window screen replacement, dryer and washroom exhaust vents, washroom plumbing, and door fit and balancing. Jan really goes over handy tricks and is entertaining and engaging. He's worth the watch for sure. I'd like to introduce Andrew Cullum with Shibugama.
Morning, everyone. Alongside the Builders Challenge, there will be a trade show. The trade show is your opportunity to connect with more than 50 companies and organizations that can help you work smarter and better. Each exhibitor is invested in helping your community housing program succeed. So make sure you visit every booth. You only have between about 10 a.m. and 4:30 tomorrow to engage with these exhibitors. We would also like to invite you to all the Community Housing Recognition Awards Gala, which is taking place tomorrow night starting at 6 p.m. We will be celebrating 4 First Nation communities for the innovations and achievements in housing. And let's not forget there will be rockin' performance by the one and only Nish King. So don't miss out. It's going to be a gala like no other. I'd like to introduce Chris Seguin.
So Passport to Prizes returns this year for in-person attendees. Each workshop, conference event, and networking activity that you participate in gives you a chance to win from the table you see in the corner, just over here. Some prizes will also be given away throughout the entire event. Make sure to engage in all activities and you will get a chance at fantastic prizes like a tablet, camping equipment, power tools, fishing gear, and much more. Please note that only delegates are eligible to win. Next up, we have Lem Velma from KO Travel Council.
So unique to 2022, we have a planned tour of Smart Modular Canada scheduled later this afternoon. If you're interested in getting behind scene at the modular building factory, then sign up in the Odin room. We will meet in the lobby just before 4:40 p.m. to take the bus over. And if you have any conference related questions, look in your handbook. That's the handbook right there. Or the FNH app for the answers. Everyone will have received update your profile in order to connect with the app. There is a page in the handbook to guide you in the connecting to the app. You can also check in with any of the working members or the conference coordinator in the Odin room. And I'd like to introduce Dinesh from Bimose.
This is a jam-packed, exciting event. We encourage you to listen, learn, ask questions, and network with everyone you can. This event is by First Nations, for First Nations, and we aim to help empower you and your communities. Please participate, network, and join us in celebrating 20 years of building First Nations. Now, I would like to introduce Jonathan Gregg from Independent First Nation Alliance.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here. It's good to know I insult you guys. Or funny. Either you're scared of me, like most little kids when I see them, they either love me or hate me. Okay, one thing we forgot to mention is our housing conference dating app. Make sure you download it. Swipe left or right, up or down. We're not judgment here, but use the housing conference app. We paid for it, so make our organizers feel good. Is that insulting? No, where'd he go? He's always standing over there. Okay. I think I'm supposed to read something, but I never follow notes anyways. You know, the one thing in the last couple of years, I'm sure all of us have learned many new skills, like just putting a t-shirt on for a Zoom meeting, combing your hair, face cloth, bird wash. And it's been challenging. It's been challenging working in housing during COVID. You know, trying to keep everybody safe, but at the same time, still trying to build shelter. And, you know, it's a good time. I can't believe it. This thing's been going on for 20 years. And there's going to be 20 more years. So that means like we need more money, SIVA. Every year we need more money. And it's great, though, to have government and First Nations working together on something this great. There's lots of challenges still to be met. Every year we say it, there's not enough funding. But I think we're starting to make some headway and we're starting to work together and listen to each other. I don't know how many times working with government, the biggest thing is consultation and learning what that means to each of us. And a lot of times consultation means very different when you go across Canada. And I think that's one thing we always advocate for. It's just learning to know what the other person's thinking. It's always hard to figure out that you're the last one to know what's happening. So I think we can always still improve on communication and consultation with us as nation to nation. Okay. So the other thing, wait. Okay. Where's Bruno? There he is. Are we doing funder and sponsors address? Where's our agenda? Okay. All right, here we go. See, this is why I don't do it anymore. Okay, so we're gonna go, one of our sponsors up here from Smart Modular, Gord Blanchard. Come on up. Okay. No, it says 7 minutes, but we're behind already. It's finish time, so you don't have 7 minutes. Okay, so I take a couple of these.
Good morning, and thank you for letting me speak here. I am Gord Blanchard. I'm the general manager of Smart Modular. Normally, this would be done by Bill Bolton, our president and CEO. Unfortunately, he's on the road right now, doing not quite as important business. Bill has been proud to be a major sponsor of the First Nation Housing Conference for over 15 years now. And he has, over those 15 years, he has tried to work with the First Nations as best as possible to provide them with housing over those years. And in those challenges, he has found that it would have been better for him to start his own plant. So we have done that. We started right before COVID hit. And so with the challenges experiencing with COVID, with material supply chain problems, with labor shortages, with trying to get the whole new plant up and running, We have, faced our obstacles. We have had our problems, but we have a really deep pool of experienced people that we have brought together to create this team and to get ahead on the learning curve on this production. The team that we have put together, if they would like to stand one at a time, is Rick, our National Sales Director. We have, please keep standing. We have Luana, our Head Designer. We have Keo, our Project Manager. We have Ellen, our new Office Manager. And we have Mike, our Purchaser. So feel free at any time during the next 3 days, if you have questions, if you bump into them and you want to know more, by all means, recognize their faces and ask them or talk to them, whatever you wish. And we'll try to get you the answers or direction that you need. What we have, it's hard to see with the blinds down, but we have brought, just outside the windows here, we've brought our prototype version of a micro home. So for anyone that wants to see what the tiny home movement is starting to bring into the region and into the area, Thunder Bay is still sort of working on their rules and requirements for it. So we jumped the gun a bit, and we have developed a prototype that people can walk through and ask questions and see if it suits their bill or offer us any advice or direction that they'd rather see in that. We will have that manned for the next 3 days from 10 till 4:30. So don't be shy, go on out there and talk to whoever happens to be there. Around the building here, we're going to have flyers and QR codes, those little square codes, a lot of other little squares in it. You scan them with your phone, and there's two things that can happen. You can either, some of the codes will lead you to information about Smart Modular, and some of the other codes will lead you to a draw where you can enter to win one of 10 $50 Visa gift cards. So don't be shy. If you see the QR codes, scan them, might get a chance to win. They're going to be at also at the micro home and also at our booth at number 55. Finally, as was noted earlier, we do have a factory tour this afternoon. If I'm not mistaken, you were asked to sign up if interested when you registered. We also have a sign-up sheet outside the ballroom here, as well as in Odin, I believe it is. Okay, sign up, and by lunchtime, hopefully we'll find out how many people will be going out to the plant. We have a bus arranged that can take 40 to 44 people per trip. And once out there, we'll give you a tour of behind the scenes of what it's like in the factory. And we also have pizza and drinks out there tonight. So everyone's welcome. Please sign up, come on out and see how we do things. Thanks very much.
All right. Now, I've been out to their facility a couple times over the last couple of years. Very impressive what they build over there, and it's coming along. I'd just like to thank you. Okay. Hey, what are you guys doing? All right. I think we're going to have one of our other sponsors is from Hydro One. Is Gail Murray here? There she is. So I think Hydro One has been sponsoring us for a long time. They've been a long time supporter. We all know we just have them here because we like to keep our lights on, pay our bills, all that stuff. But they've been a great support to our organization. Thank you.
Everyone. My name is Gail Murray, and I'm proud to be representing Hydro One here today. As Jonathan mentioned, we're a longtime sponsor and partner in energizing many of your communities here today. We're proud to be a part of this 20th anniversary of Canada's leading First Nations Housing Conference. And I'd like to acknowledge that we're on the traditional territories of Fort William First Nation, signatory to the Robertson Superior Treaty of 1850. We also recognize the contributions of the Métis community and say miigwech to those communities for allowing us to participate in this event today and in the coming days on traditional lands. What an exciting time to be in the energy sector in Ontario. The province's energy needs are growing at a rapid pace, and that is why Hydro One is exploring new technologies that energize communities across the province with cleaner power. Hydro One recognizes that Northern Ontario drives much of the growth in the electricity sector. To support economic growth, we're exploring new initiatives that will deliver power where and when it's needed. This includes everything from building new large-scale transmission lines to increasing our procurement and supporting Indigenous businesses, community-based organizations, and students pursuing a post-secondary education in the sector through various grants and scholarships. We acknowledge that Indigenous communities have historically borne the impacts of infrastructure development in their territories without seeing the benefits. Hydro One hasn't always gotten it right, but we're determined to do better because we know we cannot do it alone and we won't succeed without the support and collaboration from local Indigenous communities. That's why, going forward, Hydro One will partner 50-50 with First Nations on equity for all new large-scale transmission line projects with a value exceeding 100 million. This model was developed by learning from and listening to our early equity partners, and we consistently heard that a 50% partnership was the desired outcome for industry to strive for. Our first agreement using this equity model was signed earlier this year for the Waasigan transmission line, a project right here in Northwestern Ontario. In total, 9 First Nations are invited to invest in 50% equity in this major transmission project. The Waasigan transmission line will bring an additional 350 megawatts of power to the region and will be our first project built in true partnership. We know there's more to do, and that's why we are continuously working to do more and do better. Another example of this is our commitment to increasing the amount of goods and services we purchase from Indigenous businesses. Last year, 81% of our total procurement spend in Ontario and over 58 million were goods and services purchased from Indigenous businesses. By 2026, our goal is to have 5% of our total procurement spend be from businesses in the communities you represent. These are just 2 examples of how we're working to ensure that the First Nation communities benefit not only from working with us, but being true partners. I'm also excited to share that there is incredibly important work underway to connect remote communities to the grid. Hydro One Remotes, who I work with, is proud to support the Watinikiniat Power Line project that will deliver cleaner, more reliable electricity to some of your communities once connected to the grid. At Hydro One, we believe we have a deep responsibility to reflect on our past, to understand that there is a right way to do business while taking meaningful action towards reconciliation with Indigenous communities. Though the path is long, rest assured that Hydro One plans to travel this path as true partners. I leave you with a sincere thank you on behalf of Hydro One for your continued partnership and an invitation to visit our booth in tomorrow's trade show. I look forward to connecting with you throughout this event. Miigwech.
Thank you, Gail. Exciting stuff, new partnerships with government. Next one that I want to call up upon is one of our major sponsors, longtime supporter is our Indigenous Service Canada. And I believe my old college, we went to college together, me and Karen Waite. So she's here because I helped her through, no, I'm kidding. She helped me. You know, boys don't do good in college. You got to come. Our organizers didn't put stairs on either end. You got to walk all the way around.
You still owe me for that last report. Good morning. Thank you to Elder Peltier, Eagle Boy Drummers, and chiefs and members of the organizing committee, and all the participants of the 20th Annual First Nations Housing Conference. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Karen Waite. I am a member of Webequie First Nation and the Regional Manager of Capital Planning and Housing. It's a new position for me. I started in July. For some reason, I'm nervous. Usually I can talk in front of people, but for some reason, not right now. I would like to acknowledge the original custodians of the land we are joining from and pay our respect to the elders who came before us. I would also like to respectfully acknowledge I am joining from the traditional lands of the Fort William First Nation, signatory to the Robinson Superior Treaty of 1850. I wish to pass on greetings and wishes for a good conference from the Honorable Patty Haidu, Minister of Indigenous Services Canada, who unfortunately cannot be here today. I am proud to say that Indigenous Services Canada has been a supporter and partner of this conference for the past 20 years. We appreciate the opportunity to work in partnership with the tribal councils through this conference, to bring such a quality conference to First Nations housing professionals. And the conference now attracts people from out of province due to the quality and relevance of the subject matter. While we have made some progress improving the living conditions for residents of First Nations communities, I want to acknowledge that there is still much work that remains to be done. Housing is a fundamental need, and Indigenous people, as all people in Canada, should have access to safe and affordable housing. Indigenous Services Canada is committed to working with all our partners to achieve this goal. Since 2016, Indigenous Services Canada Ontario region has invested more than $450 million into housing to improve living conditions for on-reserve members and to enhance capacity of First Nations professionals to build and manage housing stock in the First Nations communities. The Government of Canada plans to invest another $2.4 billion across Canada over the next 5 years, starting this year. This is over and above the monies invested through other federal government departments and crown corporations, including the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. To make these investment decisions more than ever, we need the help of housing professionals like yourselves to plan, design, build, and maintain quality homes. This may come to you, many of you, as a good news, bad news story. It is a good news that there will be more money for housing, but at the same time, there is not enough time in the day for everybody to do everything, as housing managers are extremely busy. With that in mind, Indigenous Services Canada will invest $223 million over the next 5 years nationally to support enhancing First Nations capacity to plan, build, maintain homes. And this includes supporting salaries for additional housing staff in your communities. ISC Ontario region staff will be at the trade show booth tomorrow, as well as Siva Apia, right over there, our senior housing officer, will make a presentation on Thursday morning. I encourage you to take these opportunities to learn more about these investments so that you can be ready to take advantage of them. Once again, it is a pleasure to be here and share in your visit. Congratulations on the 20th First Nations Housing Conference. Please reach out to my staff or myself anytime, and I look forward to a successful housing conference. Thank you. Miigwech.
Wow. I won't pick on them this year. No, it's always great. We all work together. Siva always answers his phone. It's always good. I always enjoyed that about Siva. He's always willing to talk about things, listen things. So it's great. It's great to have partners that want to help and make a change in our communities, and especially in housing. And next, we're going to have a video from Minister of Housing and Diversity and Inclusion, I'm going to say name wrong. I tried. Hadmid Hassan. So there he is.
Hello everyone, bonjour à tous. I'm speaking to you today from the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe peoples. I'm sorry I could not join you, but I didn't want to miss the chance to say a few words about the incredible work you're doing. You have all played a vital role in supporting communities across Canada in the most challenging of times. Together, we will continue to ensure that the National Housing Strategy makes a difference in your communities from coast to coast to coast. Au nom du gouvernement, merci de votre partenariat. We made historic strides through our rapid housing initiative that has seen over 40% of units created in support of Indigenous communities, with many of you at the helm. As you know, no relationship is more important to our government than the relationship with Indigenous peoples. I look forward to our continued collaboration together as we walk the path of reconciliation and build on our work to ensure everyone has a safe and affordable place to call home. I hope you enjoy the rest of today's conference. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Miigwech.
All right. Not too long yet. It's good to get together again and celebrate 20 years. You know, it's a milestone for this event, and we look forward to many more great events. There is a presentation, a video presentation that was playing before, kind of highlighting all of the years of the event. It started out as a small event in Sulikout and sponsored by Shiboga First Nations Council. There may have been a couple dozen community members together there, and has grown to now what we're gathering today, which is the largest ever event in the history of the First Nations Housing Conference. So incredible to have you all here. One of our organizers mentioned that there was a group from Africa that had registered to come, and they ran into visa issues as far as immigration goes and visiting our country. So they were not able to attend, but amazing that we can have influence to the world around us. It's not just in Ontario. It's not just in Northern Ontario. In fact, how many are from outside of Ontario here today? If you look around the room, you can see the impact and the influence on that. Let's applaud our partners in joining us today. It's been our heart to keep it a holistic and a community-minded event, but certainly grow from a regional to a provincial to now a national event. There's many features we've grown to include in the housing conference. One that was mentioned was the Builders Challenge, hosted by Jan Eeks, a TV personality who's given tips, home maintenance tips and repair tips to people for decades. And we are honored to have him join us again this event. Tomorrow, Wednesday, will be the trade show day and Builders Challenge Day. So a very exciting event, and we look forward to having delegates sign up to join the Builders Challenge. Another showcase of the event is the Community Housing Recognition Awards. We like to recognize our communities and the efforts that they have worked to achieve in housing. So tomorrow night is a gala event as well that focuses on recognizing various communities. We are streaming live, I believe. So we have a webcast feature as a virtual attendance option, and have video, the sessions, as well as the plenary sessions. It is available to people to watch following the event as well. So I encourage you to follow up even in that way after. You know, a lot of this way of presenting an event, you know, is that me? Sorry. I guess I had the app open on my phone. That streaming feature I just mentioned. That's funny. You know, the time period that we come through in dealing with COVID, you know, it's really prepared us for working in different ways and trying to, or learning to be creative in the way we connect, the way we share information, the way we share stories. And we hope to be able to continue to share in those ways. as well as have, amazing in-person events like this. And, it's in our idea of the working group to even potentially hold events outside of Ontario, where it may be easier for people from across the country to join. So stay tuned. We want to keep holding great events. On top of the conference event, we're proud to announce and start an association in 2019 for anybody and everybody working in First Nations housing at the community. The First Nations Housing Community was created and curated specifically by First Nations for First Nations to be a holistic approach to First Nations housing and bringing solutions and sharing information in that way. One thing that makes things easier to start associations and things like that is funding. So we are continuing to look for funding and support and sponsorship in that way. And we look forward to bringing you new opportunities for the community and community participation for all of you in some way. In the meantime, we're looking for members to join and people to sit on a planning board and help even in planning events like this and even this event. So please visit our booth, the First Nation Housing Community booth during the trade show. Either sign up or give us ideas on how you would like to participate. Again, every year we have a dedicated group of representatives from tribal councils that drive the event, plan the event, meet weekly, meet bi-weekly and monthly. It's amazing how soon after an event, the planning starts for the next event. It's a lot of work and the group is volunteer. It's pretty amazing. And our goal is to reflect what's happening at the community level so that we can bring this together and learn. And that's why, as I think that's what speaks to why we're all here, because we really care about housing. We care about our communities. We want to see our communities succeed. And we know there's lots of work to do. Recently in my work, I was in a 3-bedroom house that had 17 people living in it. And that same day, I visited another house that had 16 people living in it. Overcrowding is not a new concern and not a new issue, but I think we come together for opportunities like this to share those stories and to look for opportunities. There's many organizations, government organizations, private companies here that are here to present opportunities and ways that we can grow our communities and make our communities better. And I really think that's why we're here. I've been fortunate to work in nearly every region, nearly every province in First Nations. There was a year that Jonathan and I traveled to many of the First Nations, provinces across the country, visiting First Nations, looking at housing conditions. And we all realize we have the same struggles, but we also can celebrate the same achievements, the same access to opportunities, and that's what brings us together today. Through all of this and through all of the planning, one person has been a very devoted part of the working group through the whole series of our conference events, and been a strong contributor in expanding our work with initiatives like the First Nations Housing Committee. For this long-standing and inspiring commitment, we would like to award Severio Rizzo with a special recognition award. Severio, we cannot thank you enough for 20 years of commitment to advancing First Nations housing. Severio, please come to the front. So we're putting Severio on the spot here. He didn't know anything about this. We're going to give him an opportunity to share. It's amazing to have partners, that we can celebrate and observe their achievements.
Well, thank you. This is surprising, but yeah, being on this organizing working group is not just a one-person job. I work with amazing individuals like these two gentlemen behind me, people at this table over here, and also TAG and our funders, obviously, for making this possible. So thank you very much. It's an honor to be working with you guys. Thank you.
Okay. We're right on time. We'll make up the time around lunchtime. We're running into our kind of our break. I think it's come and gone. And okay, don't forget the app. And especially this year, we want some feedback on what you guys think. There'll be questions on there in the app. Your feedback, we always look at it at the end of the session or the conference to try to improve this. It has been challenging, but I'm glad we're all here. Now, before we all leave, we got to do, how many people have been here before? All right, you know it's picture time. So come on up. We all come up in the front. You guys saw the pictures up here. Let's get some people start to come up. Don't walk outside. Those of you that standing in the back of the hallway there. There's a blonde lady there smiling at me. Come inside. Come inside. Guy in the orange jacket. Egwa. Takana Pishak. This ain't kindergarten. We don't wait to be last. Come on. Be the first. Let's go. Come on up. Working group, you should already be up here. Come on up. You can stand wherever, but we all know the tall people in the back, the challenged people in the front. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Jonathan. How you doing, man?
Good, good. All right, let's go. Keep coming, keep coming. All right? No. Smart Modular built the stage. No. Yeah. All right, keep coming up. Come on, stand up, stand up.
Blocking like 4 guys.
Right there. Hello. Brown sweater, come on up. Come on up. People in the back corner, 2 girls sitting there, come on up. All right, come on up. You could say you were here. Wow. Oh yeah, you guys all agreed to sign a waiver. We'll be selling this picture around the world. Look at that. They got to move back now. It's too many of you here. Hey, there's Mr. Fox there. Come on up. Instead of you always posting about all the conferences you go to, come and be a part of one. All right.
Short break, go to their session. Lunch will just be on me and sure that when it's done, and
Okay.
back to the stage.
Okay. Okay. Let's have a 5-minute quick break. Go to your session. Sessions will go on and then lunch will start when the sessions are done. Okay, quick break, head to your session. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the conference.